Hello, my name is Scott Wakeman. This is for the Flatiron School Sinatra app final project presentation video recording. You are looking at my Sinatra app Scuba Logbook project. We're at the initial index page, which says Welcome to your Scuba Logbook. Click here to sign up and click here to log in. We're first going to talk you through the process of signing up. We're going to click on that sign up link, which is what displays the sign up ERB page. You'll notice this form has three fields: a username, an email address, and a password. The username field that I will type in here for this new user will be newbie. Email address for newbie. We'll create an email address. And a password. Go ahead and hit the sign up button, which will then display the Dive Sheets page where it welcomes the user name of the user instance variable, which is newbie. The menu gives us two links: display dives and create new dive link. Obviously, under the display dives link, since I just created this user, there are no dives to show or display. So I'll go ahead and click on the create a new dive link. This opens up the dive sheet form. The dive sheet form, you'll notice, has multiple fields: a dive number, a date, visibility, the location, the total bottom time to date, the bottom time this dive, the accumulated time, the PSI bar start, the PSI bar end, and dive comments. And lastly, there is a submit button. So I'll go ahead and I'll generate a dive for this user. And a location. And since this is the first dive, they had 0 bottom time, and now on their first dive they had 45 minutes. And I'll populate these fields here. We'll send them on a shark dive and submit. And so now newbie has their first dive listed in Fiji. I'll go ahead and create a second dive for newbie and give it a date, visibility, location again still in Fiji. We were 45 minutes on the first dive, so the second dive will be down for 30 minutes, which gives us an active range of 1 hour and 15 minutes. And this time we'll say we were feeding the sharks and submit. So here we have the two listings for newbie. First dive in Fiji, second dive in Fiji. We can click on the first dive, verify, okay, it was the first dive. It happened on September 22nd, 100 feet visibility. Here's all the information relating to this dive. That all looks good. Let's go ahead and go back to the display dives sheet. We can check number 2 out. 927, 100 feet visibility, dive number 2. This all checks out as well. We'll go back to the display dives. Here I'm going to create a third dive, and I'm going to make an error making this third dive on purpose. So we're going to go dive number 3. Let's say the date was, instead of, I'll make it earlier, which will be my mistake. 60 feet visibility, we're still in Fiji. We were 0 time. This one will go down for 50 minutes. And our total bottom time will still be 50 minutes. We'll start with 300 bar, we'll end with 5 bar. This one, let's call it a wreck dive. And then we'll hit submit. Okay, but we've got a problem here, and that is our first dive we did on September 22nd. On our second dive, it was also September 22nd. So theoretically, it is impossible for our third dive to have been on September 25th. So I'm going to go ahead and edit the dive, which will take us to the edit route for the dives. And we will need to make the adjustment. So instead of it being on the 25th, we'll obviously need to make it on the 28th. So it happens a day later. We'll go ahead and submit this dive. And here we have our flash message where it gives us the confirmation that the dive was updated. It allows us to see dive number 3. Oh, you know what? We do have an error right there. I left out the /. So we'll go back to the edit dive. We'll go ahead and put the / in. So that is good. We'll hit the submit. And here we have the confirmation again via the flash message. This is now accurate. And we'll go ahead and click on display dives, and we'll now find out that dive number 3 is listed. We just want to verify that the change was made, and lo and behold, it was. Marvelous. We can go ahead and go back to the display dives for newbie. Now I'm going to create a 4th dive for newbie. This one I'm not going to really care about as far as the input information is concerned, because this dive I am going to delete on purpose. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw fictitious information in here to populate the fields, submit, and there is our 4th dive. We can go ahead and click on it for newbie. Now we're going to go through the delete function. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the delete, which will activate the delete route for the dive IDs. And here we have our flash message, the dive was deleted confirmation, and we are back to 3 dives. Now, one thing you will notice that I have done is when we click on these dives, you'll notice that we have dive ID numbers up here. We, of course, don't tell the user their dive ID numbers, but some hackers may try to get around our system by finding out, hey, what other dives can we have access to? So let's go ahead and see if we can access dive number 1 for newbie here. So what I've done here is I've changed the dive ID to dive number 1. I'm going to hit enter, and we'll see what happens. When we hit enter, hey, guess what? It shows newbies dives only. It says, here are your dives. It is not going to show us dive number 1. As you can see, these 3 Fiji dives were all newbies dives. They are nobody else's, and it gives us a lovely flash error message that says you are unauthorized to access this dive. So now what we can do is, with that safety precaution, we can't access any other dives. Only the user of the dives can modify the dives and see, more importantly, their own dives. So now I'm going to go ahead and log out of newbie. And I am going to log in to an existing account already. This one I called Scuba Pro. And if I remember the password here, I'll go ahead and hit the submit button. And here it will show us Scuba Pro. Welcome Scuba Pro. We'll go ahead and hit display dives. Here we see Scuba Pro's dives. We've got the first dive also, Fiji. We have all this information here on Scuba Pro's dive. We've got dive number 2, dive number 3, dive number 4. Same thing is true on this one. You'll notice that Scuba Pro's dives number are dive ID 16. Let's see if we can get to dive number 1 using Scuba Pro. Go ahead and hit the enter key, and again, the flash message pops up. You have unauthorized access to this dive. That is because Scuba Pro was not the user of the dive ID 1 that was when it was entered into the database. They do not have access to that particular dive. I'm going to go ahead and log out, and I'm going to show you the other security features that I have. Let's say a new user just wants to log in to the Scuba logbook. So I will go ahead and call this user Fish. I will give a password of King and hit submit. And what will happen is we get the lovely flash message that says, please sign up before logging in, because this information was not found in the database. Here's the link to sign up. So I can click on the click here to sign up, give the username of Fish, give Fish's email address, Actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave that blank, and I'm gonna give the password for fish. And again, what we'll do here is we're going to notice that right now it says please sign up before logging in because we didn't sign up before logging in on our prior message. I'm going to hit the sign up button. And now we're going to get a different message, flash message. It says an entry field was empty, which of course was the case because we did not have the email field correct. So let's go back and try to resolve that. So fish, and I'll give email address fish, but I'm not going to complete it. Again, I'm going to type in the information. And now watch what happens differently. We're still going to get the flash error message, but in addition to the flash error message, we are going to get a please include an @ symbol in the email address because fish is missing the @ symbol. Oh, okay, so let's go ahead and give the fish an @ symbol. We're going to go ahead and hit the sign up button again. And again, please enter part of the following. Fish @ is incomplete. So we have users locked out if they do not follow the instructions completely. And here we'll go ahead with, we'll make this a Gmail account for fish and hit the sign up button. And on this page, welcome fish. Fish has now received entry into our Scuba Logbook program. I'm going to go ahead here and go to the display dives. I'm going to show another feature. I'm going to log out. And on this particular instance, I'm logging in. Let's say I wanted to type in Scuba Pro, which is of course a username that already exists. But I'm going to use a different password and hit the submit button. You'll notice that the flash message again works. It says please sign up before logging in because Scuba Pro has not yet been entered into the database with that particular password. So now we need to go back to sign up. And on the sign up page, this is of course, please sign up before logging in. But we got the message from the other page carrying over, explaining to the user why we're here. So let's go with Scuba Pro. Now this will already exist. And we'll go with pro.com. We're going to enter this information all correct. We're going to click the sign up page button, but it gives us the entry message, flash message that says an entry field is empty, which was not part of the course, but the username already exists, which of course is applicable. So this is how we are going to prevent users from replicating the same usernames. This is the end of my web page demonstration of my Sinatra project for the Scuba Logbook. I thank you very much for your attention. Take care.